Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today what is, I promise, my final deep dive into the 2024 Senate election series. This video focuses on the 2024 Missouri Senate race. I initially wasn't planning on doing this Senate race, but a listener of mine left a comment asking me to do this race, and very nicely. So I thought, we got a little bit more time before the election, let's get this in. And as I was doing this deep dive, I did realize that for many longtime listeners of my channel, the very first video I ever did was actually a Senate prediction for the 2018 Senate race for the state of Missouri, where Josh Hawley ended up defeating Senator Claire McCaskill. That was the first Senate video I ever did on the channel. Coincidentally, it was also the first video I ever got correct on my channel. Obviously, Josh Hawley did win. So let's see if the streak continues if I get this one right as well. In this video, I'm going to go through some election history for Missouri Senate elections, some polling data, and more as we look at the 2024 Missouri Senate race. As for the Senate voting history in the state of Missouri, actually closer than you may expect for a state at the presidential level that is seen as a very safe Republican state, the Senate level is actually a lot more competitive. In 2022, which was an open race, there was the Republican candidate, who I believe was the former either governor or attorney general, I think it might have been the attorney general, won the state by 13.3%. In 2018, Josh Hawley defeated incumbent Senator Claire McCaskill and won by 5.8%. And in 2016, incumbent senator at the time Roy Blunt defeated Democratic candidate Jason Kander by a very close 2.8% margin of victory. So Missouri, across the last three elections, there has been a trend of it getting more and more Republican than the prior election, but it does show that it is still very least not a safe Republican margin of victory yet of over 15%. It's trending that way, but it has certainly been very competitive in the last three. As for the current polling averages right now, all the averages averaged up. Josh Hawley currently has 51.9%. Lucas Kunce, the Democratic candidate, has 42.1%. Looking at the national Senate vote and the margin of victory, in 2022, the national Senate map was Republican plus 0.1 when all the votes were added up. 2018, the national Senate map was Democrat plus 19.9 when all the Senate votes were added up. And in 2016, the Senate map was Democrat plus 10.8 when all the votes were added up, a margin of Democrat plus 10.2. This really can't factor too much into our prediction because we're going to have to wait and see on Election Day how the Senate map ends up looking before we can compare 2024 in Missouri to the Senate map as a whole. Also, just one note, because I didn't have as much room on my prior slide, the average win for Missouri percentage-wise in the last three elections has been Republican plus 7.3. Looking at how Missouri's voted compared to the national Senate vote in their respective years, in 2022, Missouri voted about 13.2% more Republican than the national Senate map in all the votes. In 2018, Missouri voted 25.7% more Republican than the national Senate map and all the votes counted up. And in 2016, Missouri voted 13.6% more Republican than all the national Senate votes added up. Between 2016 and 2022, Missouri averaged a Republican plus 17.5% more than the national Senate map, and in 2018 to 2022, Missouri averaged 19.5%. So a trend of about 2 points increased between 2016 to 2022 and 2018 to 2022. Again, we really won't know how this will go until after the 2024 elections are over. Then we can look at that data and see how things ended up going. As for the two candidates facing off in this election, we have Republican incumbent Senator Josh Hawley. He is now running for his second term, first elected back in 2018 when he defeated Democratic incumbent Senator Claire McCaskill. Facing off against Lucas Kunce, he is the Democratic candidate, giving Hawley actually a very tough fight for the Senate race. Looking at some Senate forecasts in the state of Missouri, Real Clear Politics has this race listed as likely for Josh Hawley to win. Sabado's Crystal Ball has it as safe for Josh Hawley. 538 has it as solid for Josh Hawley. Basically the same thing as safe, solid, and safe are interchangeable. It's just which terminology they prefer to use. Decision Desk HQ in The Hill has it as likely for Josh Hawley to win. And Cook Political Report has it as solid for Josh Hawley to win. As for some Senate polling averages, 538 currently has Josh Hawley leading by 9.3%. 270 to win has Hawley leading by 11%. And Decision Desk HQ in The Hill has Hawley up at 9.1%, an average of 9.8% overall lead for Josh Hawley. As for how I'm going to look at some counties I want to watch for in the state of Missouri, I'm doing this a little bit differently than my previous deep dives. Actually reading a few comment suggestions, there were actually some very good ideas. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read over the 10 most populous counties in the state of Missouri that I really want to mention. And then I'm also going to have a separate slide that looks at the most competitive counties, where I will mention what the populations of those are, but those are the counties I'm watching for that are going to be very competitive. So the first county I want to look at is St. Louis County. This is the largest county in the state with over 970,000 people living in this county. Of course, though, when I'm reading the population numbers, that doesn't mean every person in the county is a eligible voter. Of course, there are a lot of factors that could be. They could be children, they could not be voting age, they could not be registered voters. I'm just reading the overall population for the county. So St. Louis County, 987,000 people. It was a 24-point win for the Democrats in 2022, 26-point win in 2018 for the Democrat, and 23-point win for the Democrat in 2016. Will be a big Democratic vote area again in 2024. Jackson County, this is where the city of Kansas City is located. This is the second largest county in Missouri. This is over 718,000 people living in this county as of 2024. It was a 23-point win in 2022, 27-point win in 2018, and nearly a 28% win in 2016. I'm once again expecting this to be a very solid Democratic county come election night. The third largest county in the state is St. Charles County. St. Charles County, this is a suburb right outside of the St. Louis County area. And this is a county that's more of a likely Republican county. It was in 2022, it was a 12.5% win. In 2018, it was an 8.6% win for the Republicans. And in 2016, it was a 7.8% win. This is a very, very interesting one to look at when it comes to potentially being a competitive county. And not to spoil, but it will be on my very competitive counties list to watch for statewide in Missouri. And just in case I forgot to mention, this county does have about 416,000 or so people living in this county. That's the third largest in the state. Next, we have Greene County. Greene County, this is where the city of Springfield, Missouri is located. And in 2022, actually first, Greene County is over 304,000 people living in this county. It was a 16.6% win in 2022 for the Republican. 2018, Josh Hawley won it by almost 14%, 13.8%. And in 2016, the Republican won by almost 17%, 16.9%. I expect this to be a relatively safe Republican county on election night. The fifth largest county in the state of Missouri is actually St. Louis City itself. St. Louis County and St. Louis City are split up into two different counties. So this is St. Louis City just itself. And this is a very overwhelming Democratic area of over 281,000 people living in St. Louis, 67.7% in 2022, 70.3% in 2018, and 66.8% in 2016. No surprise here, this will be a very, very large Democratic win on election night 2024. The sixth largest county in the state of Missouri is Clay County. This is one that is going to be one of the more competitive counties I'm looking at for 2024. It has about 259,700 people or so living in this county. In 2022, it was won by the Republican by 1.4%. In 2018, it was won by the Democrat by 2.2%. So very, very close, a flip from 18 to 22. And in 2016, it was won by the Democrat Jason Kander by 5.5%. This is certainly going to be a very, very close county, one of the closest to watch in the state of Missouri. Number 7 we have is Jefferson County. This county is over 231,000 people living in this area. This is a 25-point win in 2022 for the Republican. 2018 was a 12-point win for Josh Hawley. And in 2016, the Republican won by 6. So this is a county that's been trending more and more Republican in recent elections. I expect it to be a safe Republican county in 2024. Despite it does having a track record of being a likely Republican county, I am expecting this to likely be a safe Republican county. Next, we have Boone County. Boone County is the 8th largest county in the state with over 189,000 people. Boone was a 15-point win or so in 2022, a 15.5% win in 2018, and a 13.2% win in 2016. Boone, I expect to be borderline between being a safe Democratic county and likely Democratic county for 2024, more so on the side of it being a safe Democratic county. Number 9, we have Jasper County with over 125,000 people living in this area. This is going to be a large Republican win for 2024. 48% in 2022 for the Republican, 42% for Josh Hawley in 2018, and 38% in 2016 for the Republican Roy Blunt. Definitely going to be a safe Republican area. And the 10th largest county in the state of Missouri, and one that is going to be on my close counties list, is, I believe it's pronounced Platte County. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm often looking at these for the first time, so I may be pronouncing them wrong. But Platte County, in 2022, it was won by the Republican by just 1%. 2018, it was won by the Republican by just 0.3%. And in 2016, it was won by the Democrat by 1.7%. I don't think there's a county in Missouri that has voted any closer than Platte County over the last 3 elections. This is certainly one of the very, very close ones I am watching on election night 2024. Now taking a closer look at a few counties that I think are the most competitive counties to watch for in the state of Missouri. Starting out with one we just did, Platte County. As I mentioned, this is the 10th largest county in the state. This was very, very close in 2022, a 1-point win for the Republican, 0.3% win in 2018 for the Republican Josh Hawley, and 2016 a 1.7% win for the Democrat. This is going to be a very, very close one to watch for on election night and could give us an idea at how Josh Hawley is performing statewide compared to the past 3 elections. And the next one is Clay County. Clay County is going to be number 6 in population for the state of Missouri, as I mentioned. This is very similar to Platte County, and that was a 5.5% win in 2016 for the Democrat, 2.2% win for the Democrat in 2018, and then a 1.4% win in 2022 for the Republican. This will also be a very close one to watch. If this county is going blue, that would be a very good sign for Lucas Kunce. Josh Hawley, on a good election night for him, should be winning both Platte and Clay County. If he's not, that could be a sign Kunce is overperforming what he's expected to do. Next, we have St. Charles County. As I mentioned, this is a suburb of St. Louis County, the 3rd largest county in the state. This one had Republican plus 7.8 in 2016, Republican plus 8.6 in 2018, and then Republican plus 12.5 in 2022. This is a very important one to watch, depending on what the margins are. I fully expect this county will be a Republican county. The question is, what will the margin of victory be for Josh Hawley in 2024? A really close competitive race like what 2016 was, having the Republican around 8. If Josh Hawley's performing similarly to that, that is a good sign for Lucas Kunce, and he's likely outperforming what his polling data is. If Josh Hawley's getting about 12.5 percentage points, like the Republican did in 2022, that would be a sign Hawley is running close to 2022, if not better, and is likely in a very good position to win re-election. Next, we have St. Genevieve County. This is a smaller county. It's listed at 59th in the state in terms of population, with just a little over 18,600 votes, or 18,600 people, living in this county. So it's a smaller county, but it has been at least somewhat competitive in the last 3 elections. In 2016, it was only a 2-point win for the Republican. In 2018, it was a 7.4% win for the Republican, but then it had a huge jump in 2022, up to 32.4%. So you can make the argument this is not a competitive county anymore, and I would certainly entertain that. But just given the fact that 2016 and 2018 were, at very least, very competitive, you have to at least include it as for 2024 as something to watch for. I expected to have similar numbers to what 2022 was, and then for 2026, we could say this is no longer a competitive county. But if Josh Hawley only wins his county by, say, half of the 32.4, that could be a sign that, well, maybe it's not a safe Republican county yet. This is one I would at least keep an eye out for. I'm not saying it's going to be a competitive county, but I'm saying at least be mindful that this one could potentially be competitive. And lastly, we have Buchanan County. Buchanan is the 15th largest county in the state at a little bit over 82,900 votes, or people in that county. Buchanan was a 4.4% win for the Republican in 2016, a 10% win for the Republican in 2018, and then a 24-point win for the Republican in 2022. So again, another county similar to St. Genevieve, showing a pretty competitive election in 2016, a decently competitive election in 2018, and then a Republican big win in 2022. In 2024, we're watching to see, does this trend go back to being a likely Republican county, or does it stay solidly as a Republican county? And then we'll know if we're going forward to not have to include this in the contested counties for Missouri. So for Missouri, there really aren't too many competitive counties statewide. The only 2 really competitive counties I'm watching are Platte and Clay County. St. Charles, you can make an argument in the likely Republican county. It's kind of competitive. It's kind of not. You could really go either way with that one. And St. Genevieve and Buchanan is really reaching, but that's the only counties I'm seeing right now that are really competitive in the state of Missouri. It's not like one of the toss-up states where there are a ton of really close counties. This one, not really so much in Missouri. As for the countywide map in 2022, Eric Schmidt, the Republican candidate, defeated the Democratic candidate Trudy Bush Valentine 55.4% to 42.2% statewide. And just again to show you some of the areas I talked about on the previous slide, St. Louis County over here, this is about a 24-point win. You're going to find that right there. St. Louis, the city itself, was about a 67.7% win right in this area where this number 4 is. Jackson County, Kansas City, this is going to be over here. St. Charles, right here, just north of St. Louis. Greene County, I believe you're going to find right down here. Again, this is where the city of Springfield is. That's where Greene is. That should be a solid Republican win. And then Clay County, the really two competitive counties are Clay County and Platte County. They are right here, north of Kansas City, north of the Kansas City suburbs. This is where a very competitive area will be. Boone County is going to be in the middle part of the state right here. This is what should be a safe to likely Democratic area, but could potentially be competitive. I'm not so sure it will be, but that's one to watch for as well. Jasper County is going to be right down here in the southwestern part of Missouri. And Platte County, as I mentioned, is right here. And then Buchanan County, as I mentioned, is going to be right here. On the more competitive side, Buchanan is right there. St. Genevieve County is where this number 2 is. It's going to be right here. And I think I covered all the counties now I went over in the previous slides. So just those areas, those are where I'm watching for to see if there's a competitive race. I'm just briefly going to show you 2018 now, where it was 51.4% for Josh Hawley. Claire McCaskill got 45.6%. And looking at these areas, Platte County, very, very close to flipping a lean Republican. Clay County, Democrat, actually lean Democrat, very, very close, but Claire McCaskill was able to win here. St. Charles was actually likely Republican, and this one not safe Republican. St. Genevieve was likely Republican. So that's very, very important. That's what a close election would look like in Missouri. In 2016, Roy Blunt versus Jason Kander, very, very close election. Blunt got 49.2%, and Kander got 46.4%. And you look at the close counties, Platte and Clay County, they're both Democratic wins. That was very good news for Jason Kander. If this happens on 2024, if these counties are going blue, that is obviously a very good sign for Lucas Kunce. And in this, there's also a lot of other counties that were really close. St. Genevieve, of course, was lean Republican, but then Jackson was likely Republican. St. Francis, I believe, or Francois was likely Republican. St. Charles was likely Republican, as was Adair, Saline, Ray, Cass. A lot more competitive in an election in 2016. We could see something like this in 2024. I wouldn't really expect it, but I guess it is certainly possible. So those are the 3 maps of the last 3 elections, the county maps, basically just showing you on the map where the slides I went over about the counties, that's just showing you where they are in the state. As for how the political parties performed in the last 3 elections, in 2022, the Republicans got 55.4%. In 2018, the Republicans got 51.4%. And in 2016, the Republicans got 49.2%. That is an average vote across the last 3 elections of 52%. For our 2024 estimated range, I took the highest total from the data, which is 55.4, minus the lowest total from the data, which is 49.2, got a difference of 6.2. I then took 6.2 and added it to the high end, which is 55.4, subtracted from the low end, which is 49.2, and got our 2024 estimated range of 43% on the low end to 61.6% on the high end. And what this tells us is, I mean, certainly this is a very winnable race for the Republicans. The 43%, it does dip below 50%, which does signify they're a low floor that they could potentially lose this race, but a 61.6% high does also show they have a very high ceiling, and this race is very winnable as well. It's also really difficult to talk with this without going over the Democrats, so I'm going to do the Democrats now, and then we can compare the two after. The Democratic side, in 2022, the Democratic candidate got 42.2%. 2018, the Democratic candidate got 45.6%. And in 2016, the Democratic candidate got 46.4%, an average vote across the last 3 elections of 44.7%. So in the average vote of the last 3 elections, Republicans had 52, Democrats have 44.7, a clear advantage for the Republicans there. As for our 2024 estimated range, 38% on the low end for the Democrats, 50.6 on the high end. Once I took the highest total, 46.4 minus 42.2, got a difference of 4.2. Again, I added 4.2 to the high end, subtracted from the low end, and got 38 to 50.6. So for the floor of things, the Republicans start out with 5 points higher floor than the Democrats do. Not really too much of a surprise here. The Democrats do break 50% very, very narrowly at 50.6. However, it is worth mentioning the Republicans have an 11-point higher ceiling than the Democrats do. So even though they break 50.6%, and in theory, this does mean the Democrats, if everything went perfect for them and everything went bad for the Republicans, could win the Senate race in Missouri in 2024 if everything went right for them. It's still highly, highly unlikely, seeing as the Republican ceiling is over 11 points higher, and the trend of the last 3 elections has been Republicans winning Missouri pretty handedly. It's not impossible for the Democrats to win, but in my view, it's highly, highly unlikely. One of my listeners made a very good comment saying that I didn't talk about third-party support much in these deep dive series, and that's true, I haven't, but I'm going to actually do it in this one because I thought this is an interesting thing I want to try. I took all the third-party vote in each election and added them up and just had one separate third-party vote percentage category. So this is going to be like libertarian candidates and Green Party and other smaller state parties that there are in Missouri. So in 2022, there was a combined third-party vote of 2.4%. In 2018, there was a combined third-party vote of 3.1%. And in 2016, there was a combined third-party vote of 4.5%, an average across the last 3 elections of 3.3%. As for the 2024 estimated range, same process to the Republican and Democrat slides. I took the highest total, 4.5, minus the lowest total of 2.4, got a difference of 2.1. I then added 2.1 to the high end, subtracted 2.1 from the low end. And that found our 2024 estimated range for total third-party vote is 0.3% on the low end and 6.6% on the high end. I think it's going to be something similar to the 3.3% average we saw across the last 3 elections. I don't think it's going to go as high as 6.6%, but again, I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be closer around that 3.3%, and that's the basis I'm going to use for making my prediction, is having the third party be at 3.3%. It is also worth noting that in the 2024 election, there is a Libertarian candidate, a Green Party candidate, and another party called the Better Party candidate as well. As for my prediction for the state of Missouri in the 2024 Senate race, I do have incumbent Senator Josh Hawley winning re-election, and I have him defeating Democratic candidate Lucas Kunce. Josh Hawley gets 53.7%, Kunce gets 43%, a margin of victory of about 10.7%. Something I didn't talk about much in this video was the impacts the 2024 presidential race will have on the Senate race, and I would make the case that if this election took place in a midterm year, where Donald Trump was not on the ballot at the same time as Josh Hawley, I could conceivably see this race being under 10% and being a lot closer, maybe a 7 or 8% win for Hawley. But I think Hawley's going to hold on either way. But I think being on the ballot at the same time as Donald Trump is probably boosting him by at least a little over 1 to 2 percentage points. But I think Hawley gets 53.7, Kunce gets 43. The third party vote's going to be about 3.3% based on my estimations, and the margin of victory is 10.7%. So with this deep dive concluded for the state of Missouri, my final 2024 Senate map is Republicans at 52, Democrats at 48, with Missouri going red, and some other contested Senate races like Florida being red, Texas being red, Arizona and Nevada being blue, Montana being red, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania being blue, Ohio being red, and Nebraska. I believe Nebraska's not special election, the regular election, Senator Deb Fischer. I also have that one being red for now. That one is getting very, very close and could be something to monitor on election day. But given Nebraska being such a overwhelming Republican state at the presidential level, I think Donald Trump would have just enough down ballot support in that state to help Deb Fischer win. But that could be one to watch as well. In the meantime, that is it for my 2024 Missouri Senate election deep dive. Thank you so much for watching. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button and make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.